Hello and welcome back to our news channel. Students, today we are going to space. Well, not literally, but we'll explore the amazing, risky, and incredibly scientific journey of space travel and how astronauts stay safe while doing something that sounds totally like a sci fi movie, like launching into space, living in orbit, and then returning back home. So our story today is focused on fascinating article called How is Space Flight Safety Ensured? And it tells us how ISRO, which is India's space agency, is preparing for its first human space flight mission, Gaganyaan, right? So it also takes us through the history of space accidents and what we have learned from them to keep our astronauts safe today. Okay, so let's get started. Students, Gaganyaan. Now, it sounds like a ship out of a Bollywood movie, right? Well, India's very real and very exciting mission to send humans into space, ISRO is, gonna launch Gaganyaan mission. And it's not just about launching astronauts, it's about bringing them back safe to our country. Okay, so that's what today's podcast is all about. How space agencies like ISRO make sure astronauts are safe from liftoff to splashdown. Okay, students, when I say regarding space flight journey, so it takes place in three key stages. Okay, so first is launch. Launch. Second, orbit. Third, re-entry. Okay, and at every stage there are risks, but there are also brilliant solutions to keep astronauts alive and well. Okay, so let's start with the most dramatic moment, launch. Okay, imagine a giant rocket on the launch pad, engines roaring, flames bursting from the space, and a spacecraft ready to climb hundreds of kilometers into space. It's thrilling, right? But it's also dangerous. In 1967, what happened? A terrible accident happened before even launching. So, Apollo 1, NASA's Apollo 1 uh, mission was on the ground in Florida. And three astronauts were sitting in their capsule, that is their testing systems, when an electric spark caused a fire. And because the capsule had pure oxygen, the fire spread fast. And the astronauts couldn't escape and they tragically died. Okay, so this was a wake up call for space agencies. Today, safety starts even before liftoff. ISRO, for example, has installed zip lines. Okay, ISRO has installed zip lines and a fireproof bubble lift at the launch pad in Sriharikota. Okay, so if anything goes wrong, astronauts can zip out of anger, of danger, literally. But what if the rocket takes off and then something goes wrong? So that's where something called crew escape system, crew escape system comes in. Okay, so think of it as an emergency eject button, but it is for a rocket. So here's how it works. The astronaut, uh, the astronaut capsule sits on the top of the rocket. Okay, so if there's a problem, say the rocket starts to fail, so what will happen? The escape system fires powerful rockets that pull the crew capsule away from the danger zone. So in a matter of seconds, the capsule is pulled out and parachutes help it land safely, often in the sea. Okay, And in this article, there are two types of SK systems are mentioned, tractor type and pusher type. Pusher type जैसे स्पेस क्रू ड्रैगन में है, जहाँ पे इंजन क्या करता है, इट पुश द कैप्सूल अवे from below. And then tractor type is where the engines are on the top and pull the capsule away. So that's what ISRO is doing. Okay. तो इसरो के पास कैसा है, ट्रैक्टर टाइप एस्केप सिस्टम है, राइट. एंड स्पेस क्रू जो ड्रैगन कैप्सूल है, इट यूजेस pusher type where the system is located beneath the crew module and pushes it away from the main rocket. Okay. And in 2018, ISRO even tested this system in a mission called the pad abort mission, pad abort test, and it worked perfectly. Okay, so now the rocket is launched. The astronauts are safely in space. Now what? Now comes the orbital phase. Okay. So orbital phase में क्या होगा अब? See students, this is when the astronauts, they live in space. Okay. And they float around in zero gravity, right? And do science experiments. That sounds totally interesting, but even this phase needs safety systems. And when we talk about Gaganyaan crew module, that's the part where astronauts sit. It has everything: seats, control, life support, and oxygen. So it's connected to a service module that provides fuel, solar power, and engines. But what if something goes wrong while they are in space? Well, astronauts are trained for emergency situations, and the capsule is built to return home in case of a trouble. Okay, so even on the ISS, International Space Station, astronauts always have a return vehicle, uh, like a Soyuz capsule. Okay, so एक Soyuz capsule है. It is always docked and ready like a lifeboat on a ship. Okay, so although Gaganyaan won't dock with any space station on its first trip, its crew will be trained in docking procedures. Why? Because even astronauts need to know how to parallel park just in space. ओके. तो गगनयान मिशन में तो जो हम बात कर रहे हैं, जो एस्ट्रोनॉट्स जाएंगे इंडिया के, दे विल नॉट डॉक एट एनी स्पेस स्टेशन. इंटरनेशनल स्पेस स्टेशन है ना, जो हमेशा स्पेस में रहता है, तो वहां पर डॉक नहीं करेंगे, राइट. लेकिन स्टिल दे आर बीइंग ट्रेन्ड इन डॉकिंग प्रोसीजर. ऑलराइट. नाउ after the space station, after they have reached the space, after they have reached in space, now it's time for coming back home. So the final and one of the most dangerous part of space flight is coming back home. Exactly, yes. You see, when astronauts return to earth, their capsule re-enters the atmosphere at thousands of kilometers per hour. आपने गाड़ी में अपने देखा होगा स्पीड जो डिनोट करती है, राइट. उसमें हम कैसे किस स्पीड पे चला रहे होते हैं, 60 किलोमीटर पर आवर, राइट, 120 किलोमीटर पर आवर. But when the rocket is coming back to earth, when astronauts are coming back to earth, they enter the atmosphere at thousands of kilometer per hour. You can imagine the speed. So the friction with air, it creates enormous heat, and temperature can rise up to 1800 degrees Celsius. ओके. तो जब वो वापस आ रहे होते हैं, क्योंकि इतनी स्पीड से आ रहे होते हैं, तो फिर क्या हो सकता है, कई बार टेम्परेचर जो एयर की फ्रिक्शन से इतना ज्यादा राइज हो जाता है, इट कैन रीच टू 1800 डिग्री सेल्सियस. एंड टू सर्वाइव दिस, द कैप्सूल इज प्रोटेक्टेड बाय अ heat shield. Okay, so what does heat shield do? It burns off but keeps the inside cool. But slowing down from space speed to sea level speed isn't easy. Okay, क्योंकि अब देखो एकदम से स्पीड से आ रहे हैं, लेकिन जब स्पेस से जब आते हैं तो सी पे स्प्लैश डाउन होता है, तो सी पे स्प्लैश डाउन करना इतना इजी थोड़ी ना है कि एकदम से स्पीड से आ रहे हैं और एकदम से ब्रेक लगाना, राइट? तो कैसे किया जाता है? सबसे पहले तो एक कुछ स्मॉल पैराशूट्स होते हैं विच आर कॉल्ड ड्रोग शूट्स, एंड दे बेसिकली डिप्लॉयड टू स्लो डाउन द कैप्सूल. So whenever their capsule is returning back to earth, so these drogue shoots, they are being deployed to slow down the speed of the capsule. Then three main parachutes open, which further reduces the speed. आपने मूवी में देखा होगा, वीडियो में, कि जैसे ही कोई पर्सन जब पैराग्लाइडिंग कर रहे होते हैं, तो जैसे ही वो नीचे जाते हैं एकदम स्पीड से जा रहे होते हैं, लेकिन जैसे ही पैराशूट ओपन होता है तो उसकी स्पीड रिड्यूस हो जाती है. Okay, similarly it happens in the case of capsule also. Finally the capsule splashes down safely into the sea. Okay, so ISRO's Gaganyaan capsule is also designed to do exactly like this. And tests have already shown that it can deploy parachutes in sequence and land precisely. Right? So, after this, we also have recovery teams, real ships, and helicopters who will be waiting to pick up the astronauts. Okay? So, see, ये सारे जो प्रोटोकॉल्स हैं, ये why we have incorporated it, because safety didn't come easy. We have actually lost astronauts in the past, and each accident taught space agencies to do better. Like some of the examples are mentioned here. जैसे अपोलो 1 हुआ था, अपोलो 1 1967 में हुआ था. Then Soyuz 1 parachute failed, killing the cosmonaut. Result, better parachute systems. Yeah. एंड देन 2003 में भी क्या हुआ था? डैमेज्ड विंग लॉन्च्ड damaged wing launch during launch led to disaster on re-entry. And result, new inspection procedures and stronger shields. अच्छा, 2003 का जो एक्सीडेंट हुआ था, इसमें हमारे जो एस्ट्रोनॉट थी कल्पना चावला, उनकी भी डेथ हुई थी, राइट? तो इसके बाद से ही ये डिसाइड किया गया कि जो इंस्पेक्शन प्रोसीजर है उसको बेटर रखा जाएगा, उसको स्ट्रॉन्गर शील्ड बनाया जाएगा, राइट? सो ऑल्दो दीज स्टोरीज आर ट्रैजिक, बट दे पुश्ड science and engineering to higher standards. Okay, so Gaganyaan, it is India's giant leap. And it's not just about sending people to space, it's also about creating a whole ecosystem of safety. तो इसरो क्या कर रहा है इसके रिगार्डिंग? इसरो देखो बेटर escape सिस्टम डिजाइन कर रहा है. Okay, that too from scratch. And uh, astronauts are being trained for months, including underwater escape drills and zero gravity flights. ISRO is also testing parachutes, heat shields, engines, and every part over and over again, ताकि कोई भी small space ना रहे mistake का. Okay, and most importantly, learning from other space agencies like NASA and Roscosmos. Okay, so Gaganyaan mission is a symbol of India's scientific confidence, but with a very serious focus on crew safety at every stage. So the next time you hear about a space launch, remember, it's not just a rocket firing up. Behind every mission are thousands of engineers, scientists, and safety experts who make sure those few astronauts can explore space and come back home safely. Okay, so that's all for today, students. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to follow, share with your curious friends, and come back again for another journey through the news. Until then, stay curious, keep learning, and shoot for the stars. Bye bye.